Well, good morning, everybody. It's Barb Katie here. I'm so glad to see you today. I think fall is definitely approaching pretty steadily, and I'm excited about seeing all the color when I go for my walks every day. It certainly makes the going so visually pleasing to be out and about as the fog burns off and the sun comes out and all the colors begin to appear. Uh, Hopefully, I saw signs the other day of some bear in the area as they're getting ready to uh, hibernate for the winter. And I have to admit, secretly, I'm probably hoping at a distance safely to spot one as I'm going about my walks. It's always a little bit scary, but still exciting when that happens. It's an extra special treat. Deer have been out, definitely, and I've even seen a fox once. So it's a pretty time of the year to be out and about moving through. But that's not what I want to talk to you about today. What I want to talk to you about today is what I call the tip of the iceberg. And what I mean when I say that is how much do we really know ourselves? I mean, we can say, people don't really know me. They see the surface, but they don't know what's going on underneath. And that's the reason for the picture of the iceberg up here is there is so much going on beneath what is visible to the world at large that very often, if you base your expectations, your understanding your anticipated responses on just what you see on the surface, you're probably going to be surprised that it's not exactly accurate. But what I have found through the years is we're not always really good at understanding ourselves. So, with that in mind, I would like to just sort of expand on that as a different way of thinking about what our journey is and why sometimes it may seem to be much more of a struggle than we would anticipate it would be. The first of the thing that I like to address is what's up there, obviously, top of mind awareness for each of us. What are our expectations of ourselves? What do we see as being out there that we want to have happen with whatever plan we're putting in place to empower our journey to the best health we can possibly have. And a lot of us want to lose some weight. And that's, pretty obvious since we are dealing with weight issues related to obesity. And a lot of us also would like to be able to do this without being quite as hungry as we have been in the past when we have instituted a plan of some type. And definitely, I think all of us would like to have more energy as we go about the process, so that we're not so tired and exhausted at the end of a day. And, those are pretty big expectations. And that's good enough. But is that all that's really going on? What's going on beneath the surface? Because, everybody hears constantly, well, just eat less and move more and you're going to get what you want. Well, if it were that easy, I don't think there would be so many people having so much difficulty accomplishing this effort. With that in mind, I think you have to look at some core values within yourself. What are your values? Are you really concerned about your health? Is that a primary concern for you, or are you just concerned about that number on the scale? Are you valuing less pain? For a lot of us, there is pain involved after a period of inactivity when you step it up again and begin moving more and becoming more active. That can even be a deterrent, despite the fact that this is something you really want and are expecting of yourself. If you're in pain all the time, that, is not something that we usually look for. Do we value keeping up with our peers? Do we latch into a sense of competition, even though this should not be a competition? It should be just an effort to improve our general health every single day as much as we possibly can. But, have the rewards become so significant that we go for the prize short term rather than the prize long term, which is sustainable, continuing best health possible? So, those are some of the things I think that we need to examine at a deeper level. What are the things we're really valuing here? I don't necessarily find that my biggest motivator is a reward. To me, I find how I feel to be my best award. And so that's important for me to evaluate and say, okay, this is important to me, this over here isn't. Doesn't mean I'm right or I'm wrong. It just means this is me. This is what's below the tip of the iceberg that is driving me forward. And if you want to help me, this is something that will be important for you to understand about me as we move along in this journey. Because each of us is different. We have different values. We have different expectations. And importantly, we have different barriers as well, because there are things impacting on us, us being the iceberg, whether it's the part showing above water or the part below the surface, that are being buffered by everything around them, the waves in the ocean, if you will, the storms that come by. Are there health conditions that have manifested themselves that need to be addressed and taken into consideration? Each of us is a unique person, and we go to our personal physicians for care and treatment of whatever these health issues might be. Some of us may be diabetic. Some of us may have high blood pressure. Some of us may be dealing with arthritis, with rheumatism, with a wide variety of conditions. Some of us may be in our 20s. Some of us may be in our 80s. All the ranges in between that can create different health conditions based on just the aging process or on genetics that we may bring to the table as well. So those are barriers in the journey that may not be at all apparent from the surface if you just looked at us and say, well, what do you mean that's a barrier for them? They look fine to me. Well, you don't know. Which is why Tufts has always said one diet does not fit everybody. Everybody has to make their own plan for living their best life, whether it involves the food they eat, the activities they do, or the way they approach their life in general. Maybe part of the barrier because of health issues is a very restricted food plan that confounds your desire to reduce caloric intake. Not everybody can eat everything freely. Lots of people have to restrict certain aspects of their dietary plan. Those of you who have gluten allergies certainly know this. Peanut allergies, nut allergies in general. Any food allergy can really confound choices that may be available to you. Another thing is digestive issues. Some of us have digestive issues that compromise what we are able to eat and enjoy on an ongoing basis. And that's important to know. That's a barrier in a plan that is not apparent on the surface, but may be really present in your life and needs to be accounted for. Injuries that you may be coping with that others may not see on the surface, but yet do compromise what you can and cannot do. So, to my way of thinking, you have to take into account the total picture for yourself when you're planning your course of action in this treatment process. And also, those trying to help you must be more aware and not make assumptions that there aren't underlying conditions that are going to make certain choices unavailable to you that they can freely participate in. And what I would suggest all of us need to do are actually three primary things when we look at the tip of the iceberg and what's going on underneath. And these three things are very simple. I call them, when you were in when I was in grade school, they talked about the 3 R's all the time. This is the 3 R's for me in making a plan of action to live my best life. And those are to reflect, refocus, and rebuild. And by this, I mean to reflect on this journey that we are all on, individually and collectively, to reflect on our beliefs, our expectations, and our goals, and see if any of these need to be realigned. Then I think we need to refocus our efforts on what things matter most in this journey. Is it a number on the scale that matters most to you? Is it a clothing size? Is it an ability to do something that you previously have not been able to do? Refocus, re-examine, give it another look and see if your top priority items are the same now as they were maybe 2 or 3 months ago. And then from that, after you look at your expectations, what things you really value, the barriers that surround you, and reflect and refocus, you can begin to rebuild, to define small goals that are realistic, keep expectations as things that are achievable for you, so you have a sense of accomplishment as you move forward, and have, in fact, that sense of moving forward and making significant change in the way you are living your life so it is the best life it can possibly be. And then to review the quality of the life you are now living, because this is a journey. It is not a final destination, and it needs to have quality as you go through it, enjoyment as you go through it. Joy in the journey is what I hope all of us will be focusing on as we move forward. You need to feel a sense of joy and accomplishment every day in as many areas of your life as you possibly can in order to want to continue this marvelous, marvelous trip we have been given. It's a once-in-a-lifetime trip, and we certainly want it to last as long as we can. So get out there and enjoy the journey, and I will talk to you later. Have a good one. Bye-bye.